though, which is pretty hilarious.
That spear was just so close, and he nearly turned this into a 1v1.
Yeah.
Or 1-for-1 rather, as GBM escaped with about 20 HP right there, and he gets knocked around again. And you know,
have we really had a highlight reel for an MVP of the MVP just dying over and over again?
Look at this, 3 people topside though, and the rest of his team is just taking a dragon.
It's just kind of funny. Oh, nope, no escape for you, Kube. But while you die, your team is taking objectives, and here we go. Finally, a chance for revenge.
Yep, and this is where JIN really got too clever for their own good. They tried to be tricky. They outsmarted themselves, more or less, as Samsung was like, well, your jungler's down there. We can just all 5 go down there, get a 5th dragon, no problem.
Yeah. I've just got an important news bulletin from Tilt City. The JIN plane has just crashed there, and we aren't sure if the players are going to make it out. They're going to try.
They have to fight their way through Tilt City on foot now.
That's right. It's hard to get out of Tilt City. It's at least a day's trek through Diamond 1 infested streets.
And man, if you're JIN, is this just going to be another game, or another season rather, where you're going to start strong and then just slowly peter off until the end?
Yeah. Watching that last game, to continue the plane analogy a little bit, was like, you know, you see those YouTube videos where it's like some guy doing really impressive stunts with like his RC plane and all that, and then in the end it just like nosedives into the parking lot and shatters into a million pieces. That was like the end of that game. That was it.
It's a very accurate analogy.
You're like, oh wow, ooh, that's oh, that sucks. Yeah. Well, picks and bans for game number 2, JIN versus Samsung, and we'll see if JIN can keep it together. It's an awkward situation to be in.
Okay, so what'll be the bans this game? Looks like the Azir coming back out against Crown. That hasn't been a big pick for JIN when GBM is playing. They are going to ban Twisted Fate.
Okay.
And Fizz, surprisingly. So maybe worried about Crown's possible counter pick. They will first pick the Maokai.
True. Right.
Ezreal's still available this game. Braum is not banned. They did not first pick the Braum. So Samsung has a very real potential just to take Gragas Braum here and then threaten a Runeglaive Ezreal.
Or Victor Gragas. That's what they're going to go with, it looks like.
I don't know about that one.
Huh. That's a very early mid lane pick for Samsung. Now, how does JIN punish it?
Well, denying the Victor is key to play against GBM because he has had some very big games on that Victor. He's shown that he can really hard carry with that champion. Now, I don't know about what he's going to be able to do in this game in particular.
Zyra may not be the answer, believe it or not. But what about going for like a Juggernaut? What about going for a Lulu here? Doesn't look like they're going to.
They want some more information. Still no sign of the Ezreal, which is definitely an option, and no sign of the Braum. This is a little bit weird if they lock in the Alistar. You think, especially if you're going to take Maokai in Italy, you would at least want to threaten the possibility of a Runeglaive Ez.
Yeah.
Ori.
Orianna for GBM. All right. Champion that he made a name for himself on will not be picked. That's what I was going to say all along. Alistar locked in, and so 2 more picks over to Samsung Galaxy. What do you take here? Sivir Braum? Avoid that Ezreal?
I think you wait on the Braum until you see if the Ezreal is going to get picked, but you could take it here. Obviously, you know what the top lane matchup is going to be already, so you could just take top lane and AD carry and save your support for last. That's certainly a viable option.
Well, if they pick a Lulu here, I was going to say, it certainly indicate a Kog'Maw, but it looks like it is just going to be Braum and Sivir. All right. Pilot insta-locks that Vayne. Very bold move, but what is GBM going to play in the mid lane? Orianna, okay.
Yeah, they have a good team composition for Orianna right now. Chaser, the Nidalee doesn't really fit into what JIN is doing because they don't have a lot of poke outside of the Nidalee. Yeah, they've got a little bit of zone control with the Orianna, but mostly this is about protecting the Vayne. Of course, you do get the attack speed and the heals coming in with a lot of AP, so there's that angle to it. But good composition for creating picks, and they've got 2 methods to really get the ball in there via the Alistar or the Maokai. So nice composition will be the Rumble locked into the top lane.
We were talking about how the Rumble may have worked out for Samsung last game.
Still so dangerous. Maokai in Italy, we're going to see more top ganks here. And Rumble even more vulnerable than the Hecarim, because at least the Hecarim has that ultimate. He's got his devastating charge for a little bit of movement speed. Rumble can't do much of anything if his flash is down.
Very true. And JIN, you would think they'd be coming back into this one with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, a bit of vengeance planned here in game number 2, or they're just going to roll over and die. We don't know what the level of tilt is. I checked the weather report between games, and it was cloudy with a chance of tilting, but it was only about 50-50, maybe like 55% chance of tilting. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, thank you for analyzing the atmosphere of the JIN booth.
You're welcome.
I saw you going in there, taking some readings.
That's right.
Gathering some data.
That's right. Had my phone out, you know, with my my tilt meter on it. Like waved it in front of GBM. It was like really going off the charts there, but
the salt sensor, you were just like.
That's right. Yep. Detected a lot of it, but we'll see if they can control it or not. JIN, this is not the time to be 2-0'd by Samsung, JIN. We'll see if they can stop it from happening and get the tie. Let's get in the game and find out. Welcome once again to Summoner's Rift. JIN Green Wings versus Samsung Galaxy. The Samsung fans sounding a bit more energized after that Game 1 win. A surprise win coming out for Samsung in game number 1.
Well, you know, Samsung is a lot like Spenu, though. They usually can only put together one good game in a best-of-3.
True.
So, and then
that wasn't even a good game. That was just a game that they were kind of handed at the end there.
Yeah, they did a lot in the early game in terms of questionable shot calling to give JIN a big advantage, but they had that late game edge in terms of the team fighting, and JIN equally made mistakes. It was sort of nobody really wanted to win that last game, you have to say.
I guess not.
So Pilot back on Vayne. Now, we saw him at the beginning of the season really starting to diversify his picks with Urgot and Vayne, and it all looked rather interesting for this player, but then he got benched for a long time for Captain Jack. But he has put on some very impressive Vayne performances. Whether he'll be able to play up to that level, again, remains the key. He does have a lot of peel. He's got shields, he's got heals, he's got everything going for him to protect him. And we are going to see a lane swap for JIN. So they start on the bottom side of the map, then walk all the way across here to get that freeze in the top side, and JIN just wants to swap out of that Sivir lane, and I guess Crown's going to slide around awkwardly.
Nice, I didn't know you could do that. That's awesome. It's fun.
Can you do that in real life, though, Doa?
Yeah, of course. Why do you even need to ask?
You just have to put some wax on your shoes?
That's right. You know, I actually, when I was in college, I bought what they called soap shoes back in the day, where they had like the wax like section in the middle, so you could jump on rails and like grind down them with just shoes.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I did.
How was your shoe rail grinding?
Quite good. It was really easy, actually.
Can you do that for me someday?
Well, I don't have the shoes anymore.
If I got you the shoes, would you do it?
Sure. Probably.
Okay, I'm going to take some videos.
All right, sounds good. I was skateboarding yesterday. Had my dog pull me. It was fun. Oh, and Luna coming in, trying for an early little gank on the GBM. There's a Q. Can they get the stun off? A little bit of damage, but no summoners used by gank by Mom.
Yep, does get a potion out, so that's a bit nice right now. Cuvée hits level 2, then right back into the lane with the teleport trace with the same move on the opposite side of the map. So standard lane swap so far. Looks like Braum was just going for a mid lane gank on his merry old journey up into the top lane, where he eventually arrives.
Yep.
But that kill pressure now going to be on Sivir, and Sivir not that vulnerable to it with that spell shield. She can actually shield out the Twisted Advance or the Spear, so it's a lot harder to land that gank combo.
It's a good adaptation by Samsung. That's what they definitely need to do at this point. GBM with a little bit of a ward as he pushes up there. A little bit of a ward. It was mostly just a ward. Didn't need to really add that little bit of a ward part there.
It was only half a ward. That's what a trinket ward is. It's just a little bit of a ward.
Yeah.
Not a whole ward.
A bit of a ward. Half a ward. I'll take a A pint of ward, please. It comes in pints.
It does. It looks like it could fit in a beer glass, so.
Sure. Uh-oh, you've been found.
Yeah, Chaser waiting for a long time in the top river, but can't actually get that wave pushed back enough to be able to make a play. Instead, GBM just going to be a little bit tricky, hiding himself for the moment from Crown and staying well away of a place where the death ray could hit both him and the minion wave. He has to make a choice, and that choice will be GBM.
Oh, that spear.
Actually did.
It did connect. It didn't look like it did damage. That was odd. It was a very strange little thing. But he got the little Klingon Empire symbol above his head, so I guess it did hit.
So I guess he's part of the Empire right now. He has to go back to Kronos.
No, he's still got to go through that trial where like he walks on the thing and everybody like hits him with the electric sticks. Remember that one? That was supposed to be dramatic, but man, I just laughed and laughed when I saw that scene. I was like, Worf, you idiot. Do you really need to do this?
That's actually how you become a caster at OGN.
That's true, yeah. That's right. We just put Papa Smithy through that. He was like, ah! Like he like fell down to his knees. We're like, get up. You cannot be an OGN caster unless you pass the trial. Yep.
So think carefully before you want to move out here.
That's right. We've accepted him into our house OGN. Yep. Barely made it, but he survived. Good on him.
It's actually why Chober had to leave, too. He tried to put it off for a long time, and then he failed.
Yep, pretty much. That happens. We're like, well, there's always a place for you in Starfleet, I suppose. back in California. That actually does work out when you think about it, yeah. A lot of damage onto Luna under the turret here. Pilot farming quite well as he pushes up. Not a lot of pressure on him, too, with his support and jungle kind of running interference.
Yeah, just by himself there, and they don't have any vision, so they're really afraid that Chaser and Alistair could actually be on the top side of the map lurking, and they are right now. One of them's in the tri-brush, so he does come through. He's actually going to punt him into the wall. Lots of damage going down onto Kuve.
Yeah, wow. A lot of damage onto Luna as well, too. Pilot.
Wow, look at playing with the ranges, too, on that Winter's fight, so not going to get hit by it. But, yeah, Sweet just ran through the tri-brush. We didn't get to see it. Punted Kuve into the wall for some extra damage.
Tons of fun. Some ward's going down by a dragon. We'll see if Samsung wants to actually go for that or not.
Yeah, they really can't because they don't have control over mid or bottom right now.
Oh, Chaser up here as well. Big gank under the bot. Nice. Jump onto Luna. There's first blood going over to Chaser. Can they finish off Kuve? Doesn't look like it. Pilot a little bit low there. Once again, Chaser picks up that first kill of the game.
Yeah, and they had great knowledge of what was happening on that side. There could have been another jungler. They had the
They can still do this.
Right in the red buff.
As long as Pilot stays safe, and that's a lot of damage onto Kuve. Kuve flashes back in, tries to go for the Flame Spitter. Kuve manages to stay alive for the moment, but there we go. Condemn and Chaser comes in to try to get the kill. Can't quite do it. They're just delaying the inevitable. Oh, this poor Rumble. Oh, he manages to go for the 2-for-1. Are you kidding me? Kuve. And they're going to give away the dragon as well.
That was just awful from Jin Air. They were not communicating which abilities. Chaser missed 2 spears because the headbutt and then the condemn. He wasn't anticipating them to actually land them, so they had to overcommit right there, and they gave up the 2-for-1 and the dragon. Absolutely terrible execution from Jin Air on the dive.
That's right.
Terrible.
I've received word that the members of Jin Air have been intercepted on their way out of Tilt City. It's not been good.
So there's the pull. Knocks him out of the spear. That's a kill right there if the spear lands. Then again, we come through. Pilot wants the condemn. There it is. But they don't tell the Chaser when these abilities are coming in, or Chaser isn't asking for them, or not listening, or something, and then tries to go in way too low. They have to burn 2 flashes to get double killed. That was one of the worst tower dives I have ever seen.
Wow. Jin Air, you go straight to your room and do not come out until we say so.
I mean, they still have a gold lead, shockingly.
Well, they got a kill.
And Trace has been doing well on the... I mean,
He's got a lot more CS than Kuve does. You know, Kuve having to fight it out under the turret, I suppose, rather than CS.
Well, also he was denied pretty hard by the Vayne, whereas Trace had a bit of an easier time in the 1v1, and he has that better ability to farm from range as Maokai.
The support standoff in the bot lane as GBM moves over to take his blue buff.
Man, it's been
pretty
a
bad,
while
wasn't it?
since I've seen a tower dive be.
Yeah.
It's just, that was such an easy gank to set up. And the most baffling thing, Doa, is that Jin Air is a Nidalee team. This is a team that should know how to set up Nidalee tower dives.
This is some of the worst Nidalee play from Chaser we've seen yet.
Yeah,
Probably the worst.
It's not good. But it's very surprising that they couldn't coordinate around either the headbutt or the condemn.
Finds Eve. A little bit of damage onto him.
I mean,
And Shockwave on the Crown. GBM may find a kill here, but that Chaos Storm is doing quite a bit. GBM's going to have to back away. Doesn't need to burn any summoners, but Crown doesn't need to use his either.
There's another moment where that Spirit hit, and probably Crown was dead.
Could have been, yeah.
He had Flash, so maybe not, but certainly would have discouraged Crown just a little bit right there. Drops the Chaos Storm all the same.
Yeah. It's a bit rough. It's kind of scary there for a moment, guys. Monty picked up his monitor. He was gonna throw it into the crowd, but I stopped him at the last second.
It was actually, I was aiming for the Jin Air booth.
He gets that way when tower dives go like that. Hulks out a bit.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
No. That's right.
I become a danger to other casters.
He doesn't
to me,
turn
the audience.
He doesn't turn green though. He turns plaid, sort of a faded plaid. Yeah, it's a nice pattern, but it's still kind of disturbing.
It's actually my Scottish blood, you know. It's
there you go.
My tartan. There you go.
Well, people can't see what you're wearing at a desk. They don't know you wear a kilt to the studio every day. Actually, yeah. Little known fact, Monte Cristo facts we're revealing.
It's just more
today.
Comfortable in the summer, you know. I like to
you
get a little bit of air swirling around there.
Oh, yeah.
Keeps things from getting damp.
Makes sense. Nice lower extremity garment analysis there. Good job.
Thanks. Yeah. Fashion analysis is my next job after this one.
Yeah. That's right. If that whole team ownership thing doesn't work out, right to the fashion industry.
Just straight in there.
That's right. It's a good transition. Moving laterally, they say, I believe. I'm looking forward to your new fashion line. I won't wear it, but, you know, I'll tell people about it.
Well, that's nice of you. Yeah. It's all right. I wouldn't expect you to wear anything tasteful. So.
Just can't please everyone.
Well, I wonder what's going to happen around this next dragon now, because Jin Air, they can still hang with it in the late game. They've got the Orianna, they have the Vayne, they have the Maokai, so they certainly could stick with it, but it is not a good start, especially in the lane where it looked like they would have an advantage over with this Rumble, but instead handing those couple of kills is a bit punishing. Trace still with the lead.
Well, if they fight this dragon, they run the risk of just getting annihilated in a team fight by Rumble Victor, so they're really going to need to play careful. And we saw, you know, what happened last game when Jin Air struggled with team fighting. They did just get wrecked, so it's a bit dangerous. It's a dangerous prospect to straight up fight Samsung right now, I think, if you're Jin Air.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Dragon's stacking has begun early for Samsung too, so they're in a good position just to continue with that objective. They had 5 dragons in the last game. They can certainly repeat that performance very early on in the game again, because they're going to be able to get their second here in about 13.5 minutes. So Jin Air has to be able to do something about this, but they've only got 45 seconds to make a important play. And Trace has gone for the cowl first, so he's not going to have that righteous glory to get a decent engage down.
30 seconds. Pilot and Sweet trying to push up the lane a little bit anyway. Sweet pushing ahead. Yeah, they just want to try to get that close enough to the turret that they can move over to the dragon comfortably, but I don't think there's going to be too much comfortable about it.
Yeah, here comes the wave clear. They're just going to try and reverse this right now as the dragon spawns. Chaser's already there on the bottom side, though, so they're going to try and punish them for pushing forward.
Yeah, Chaser coming through, but Fury just gets taken out as Chaser comes in.
Very nicely done. So Sweet was able to make a play right there. Fury got close to the wave. They knew what he was doing, and
really big.
That was just a flash and a pull headbutt coming into Chaser's spear. So that time they actually land the spear on a gank and are able to do something with it.
Yeah, they're going to start that dragon right away as well. And they should be able to get it. So already a better start dragon-wise for JIN here in game number 2, able to tie those up at about 14 minutes. And a pretty critical mistake by Fury.
Absolutely huge. They were able to get that right now. We just look at this. It's going to be a flash.
Yep.
There we go. Pull. Headbutt. And
nice headbutt.
Yep. Chaser coming on through there too. So they made it work. Got the necessary kill. Had to Chaser flash for that actually, but
hey,
got the damage down, and now
hi.
They're not going to be quite as concerned as they were before about the possibility of the 5th dragon, so they're hanging in there. They have that gold lead in spite of the dive at the top side.
Yep, Chaser getting a little bit low thanks to Crown. And Samsung trying to just get all the vision they can here.
Just gonna pounce away. So Luna and Crown not really going to be able to close that gap in any kind of meaningful fashion. Question now is, do they go for some of these ganks on the top side to try and shut down the Rumble just a little bit more?
They could collapse onto Sweet here. Okay, he sees it. Ping went down, but Sweet backing off just in time.
Yeah, he has his ultimate up, so yeah, we get out of there. Not too worried about that. Now blue buff transfers for both players in the mid lane, and back to glorious, glorious farming.
Oh yeah. Who doesn't love farming? A little bit of pressure onto this turret. And Sweet coming in. Spell Shield prevents the knock-up though. And Eve just protecting the Tri-Brush, so a little bit of damage done to the turret. Not much else to speak of though. Oh, are we going to see a bit of a fight here? Damage onto Crown, a little bit more, and yeah, Crown not going to find a chance to 1v1 at the moment anyway.
This is probably going to be a bit of a slow one from this point out. Sweet actually going with an early distortion enchantment in this game just to have his flash up more frequently, but that's not usually an item that we see onto these Alistar, so he really wants to get on top of Victor and Sivir, understanding that if their flashes are down, they're not going to have the mobility to get away from him.
Yep.
From that flash Q, and he's going to be able to instantly get in the backline. So interesting play. Eve is here. Chaser is here. Here we go.
Yeah, Sweet coming in, and the spear doesn't hit anybody. Pilot pops that ultimate. They're going to keep pushing them down the line, trying to just chunk them out as much as they can. Pilot has to be careful here. Okay, he's fine.
Yeah, no real way for them to turn. They had already used 2 ultimates, so he just gets that last shot to proc the Silver Bolts before he backs off.
And what is Samsung going to give up because of that? They could take some damage on their turret from this. JIN seems to be doing a little bit better job this game in terms of controlling all the wards coming out of Samsung as well.
Well, their vision control is much better this game than it was last game. They really fell very far behind on that. And Chaser's still playing without that Sightstone. So, and he's also playing without a warding totem this game.
Wow.
So far. So it's still relatively early. He can switch over to that upgraded warding totem pretty soon.
I mean, it seems like it's been more clearing wards than putting down wards of their own for JIN so far. And will they be able to get this turret? Yep, no problems there. Meanwhile, a bit of a tussle up in top lane. And so JIN claims the first turret of the game. And already that Vayne is going to start taking down turrets very, very quickly. With the recalls, though, maybe Samsung could try something in the mid lane here.
Yeah, and Samsung really doesn't have something to answer a Vayne split push, which is a bit scary. If it is going to be coming in, GBM just gets delayed right there. Crown going to giggle about that on his way out. And we're not going to see a split push, actually. Fury and Luna just going to respond with a turret of their own, and JIN just can't get there in time to save it. It was already too low, so that turret count going to be evened up immediately.
Wow. Kube getting really low, having to burn that equalizer just for the wave clear as he makes it out of lane.
Well, he's going to have it back up by the time Dragon comes through, so it's not really a big deal. He wants to get back and get another shop in before that objective becomes contested. Trace, does he have the Righteous Glory right now, will be the major question for him, and the answer is yes.
And a cowl besides that as well. Sweet getting close, tries to pulverize, doesn't catch anybody with it though. Looks like they're going to clear the wards about a minute until Dragon comes up. And JIN really wants to take the lead for Dragons for the first time in this series.
Yeah, they could do it here. They
could
have a Vayne that is unusually strong for this point in the game. Pilot's definitely been holding his own on that champion so far. They may attempt to break down the top side considering how low it is before they really want to commit to any kind of play around this Dragon.
Trace seems to not be having a difficult time pushing Cuvée out of lane at this point either.
Trace has actually been playing well today. He's probably the only person on his team that we can really point to and say, wow, this guy played well in both Game 1 and Game 2.
It's looking pretty solid so far. And JIN moving down towards this Dragon area. They're going to have the vision. They're going to have the Rift Scuttler as well, too, which is going to be really nice.
So let's see how this gets set up. 13 seconds left. Chaser actually recalling right now.
All right, that's a bit brave.
Well, he is going to he's not even going to have his Rod of Ages, so he just went back for the Blasting Wand.
I guess. I mean, they're not going to really get there in time. Samsung's going to start that Dragon right away. Will JIN be able to delay long enough?
They're just poking at it right now. They're still going to be reluctant, but there they go.
Yeah, they're going for it. Here comes JIN. Sweet looking to make a big play. Going to get in there. Teleport's coming in right now from JIN. They're going to try for it. Samsung disengages. Pilot comes in. Oh, they're going to jump on him immediately. Pilot nearly gets taken out, but somehow, some way escapes with the flash and the summoner heal. And Samsung, with the edge in this team fight, though, may be able to muscle their way in and take this Dragon.
Well, they did lose Luna, so it would be a 4v5 right now. Equalizer is still available, but no other real ultimates are. Meanwhile, Shockwave is still there.
I mean, Pilot, JIN, they're pretty low. They're going for it, though. Pilot healing up with that blade very easily off the Dragon, though. There's a Shockwave, and they catch Samsung majorly. The Equalizer comes down. Crown's still in a little bit of trouble, though. JIN doing damage. There's the flash from Cuvée. Can Chaser chase him down, gets him with the spear. And Trace.
Are they going to dive this? It looks like they are.
Advance on the Crown. A lot of damage comes in. GBM with that command attack gets the kill, and this could be a prolonged ace. Luna comes back in, but it's not going to save Fury. There's the spear that lands. So Luna back alive again, but an unofficial ace for JIN as they take the Dragon and take apart Samsung and to take the mid lane turret. Maybe even the mid lane tier 2 with this.
Much better team fighting from JIN right there. They really followed up nicely. GBM still let his Shockwave up, and he hit a great Shockwave to open up that fight again. And then following through, the communication was there. Trace went in. GBM flashed for the Victor. They were trying to draw them under the turret, but Victor died nearly instantly after that. So that was miles better. Now watch this. So we do see a Pilot just getting knocked around right there by the explosive cast. Bit of a misposition from him at first. Trace gets slowed up by the gravity field, but Braum is already dead here. Now watch this turnaround as they go for the Dragon. Oh.
Or don't.
It's actually surprising the Pilot lived through that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had to burn both summoners to do it, but that combined with the invisibility from the Vayne ult, nobody using a sweeping lens or anything like that to spot him, so he was able to make it out. And yeah, look at that. 3 pink wards on Samsung right now. I think they're going to try a little bit harder to spot the Vayne next fight because they nearly got him. And if they had been able to kill Pilot like they intended, that would have gone very differently.
I mean, that burst is huge. You can see Pilot right now very concerned. He's even going for a Negatron cloak already. He wants that QSS pretty fast here. Actually, he'll probably build a Veil this game just because there's not a lot of cleansable CC that he's going to be concerned about except for Braum. Concussive blows. Probably going to be true. Veil is probably going to be better here.
Yeah, I mean, if you can soak a Q from Braum with the Veil, that kind of eliminates that danger, and that's really the biggest thing he's going to be worried about.
Yeah. Meanwhile, having a Veil against perhaps the first of Victor's high damage spells is much more useful. You really just need to live.
Yeah. And Pilot, you know, when JIN has gotten ahead with Pilot on this Vayne, he really does tend to go off. He's 2-0-4 already, so this Vayne could be very, very dangerous for Samsung as the game keeps going here.
Well, they have another large gold lead. We saw this from JIN in the last game, 6K by 25, 30 minutes, and like last game, maybe they can't convert it again, but they do have a better tool in terms of their team composition for actually winning a late game team fight.
Oh, headbutt pulverized onto Luna. Sweet going out a little bit ahead of his team. Could be dangerous, but it looks like he'll be okay. I think the big thing for Jin Air this time is that they're not in a position, they don't have the same team that's going to allow themselves to outsmart themselves like they did last time too. This comp is much more straightforward, which I think is good for Jin Air at the moment.
It is, and it's easy to execute in a 5v5. Maokai hits W, you click on somebody, then you, Orianna hits W, then you click on Maokai, and then you press R. It's not that hard to operate. It's very reliable.
You can't get overly clever with Maokai, Vayne, Orianna.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Well, Sweet is actually going to be the one building the Aegis of the Legion this game because Chaser, of course, wants to go for those damage items. That is his role on this team.
And they're going to go for that Baron. Pretty brave. There are wards there. They're going to have to back off immediately.
Yep, they have some nice sustain, though, so they don't really take damage. Just poking in, seeing if they can force Samsung, and those spears starting to do a lot of damage.
Certainly are. Chaser's been landing a lot more of those this time around, too. Looks like that ward is just outside of the pink ward range.
Yeah, they can't see the Baron.
They're going for it again. All right. Samsung knows this is happening. Baron dropping fast. They might have to disengage again.
Yep. Just keep on poking forward, though, clearing out that vision. There's not a lot of time for Samsung to go back if they want to remain competitive, and that Italy poke is hurting given a long enough timeline.
Have to defend that mid lane turret. Dragging up in 1:30 as well now. But they can just go right back in on that Baron again. And this is a situation, too, where you could theoretically give up a second dragon for the Baron. You could kind of let them, quote-unquote, have it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You're not going to feel too bad about them getting dragon number 2 as long as you can do that Baron quickly, which they can with the Vayne. They certainly have the tankiness in order to buy themselves a little bit of time without taking too much damage from that objective.
GBM, speaking of damage, just going straight up the damage department, picking up the death cap now. And going for the Void Staff afterwards, it looks like.
Yeah, Orianna spikes really hard at 3 to 4 items. So just having her core of Athenes plus Death Cap plus Void Staff is usually enough to make a massive, massive difference in team fights.
Very true. 30 seconds. Jin Air getting ready with some wards. And this one, they may just be able to take this uncontested too. We'll see. Samsung looking a bit afraid right now. They have, wow, they have Crown all the way up in the top lane, right as this dragon comes up.
Yep.
I feel like Jin Air is going to be, I feel like Jin Air is going to be pretty happy to give up potentially a top lane turret for this dragon, and maybe not even that.
Well, they're still trying to chase. They got a free ultimate out of Fury, too. They have to back off using that on the hunt, and so that means it's even more likely that Jin Air is going to get this. They're trying to get the top lane tier 1. Trace has been sent up there. He has the TP. He is not going to save the tower.
Yeah, but they do take their third dragon, which is really nice. Luna nearly getting eliminated as well, too.
Warding has been night and day for Jin Air. Their vision control was so bad in Game 1 around a lot of these Barons and Dragons. This time it's really turned around. They've been buying a lot more wards, getting them out on the map. They have 4 pink wards, something we really didn't see at all in the last game from them.
Well, Jin Air, I mean, I don't know why they thought they could be sloppy, but they looked a bit sloppy last game, and things have tightened up considerably. I can only imagine what the coach had to say between Game 1 and Game 2.
It started off bad, giving up that double kill, but they haven't given up any kills since then, and they've taken some very clean dives. So maybe just a bit of a slow start today for the Jin Air Green Wings before they really got on point. But
got to warm up, you know?
Yeah, ever since that abysmal tower dive at the beginning of this game, they've looked a lot tighter, and they've managed to engineer a pretty healthy lead for themselves.
As they did last game before they gave it all away. But,
well,
this one's a little bit different situation.
Yeah, it's going to be harder for them to give this one away because they have a better 5v5 team fight, so they don't have to be worried about trying to be fancy with split pushing.
They kind of have to just stand in the equalizer and the Victor ult and take their hands off the mouse and keyboard, really, at this point. Which is not outside the realm of possibility, but I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. They are able to get some decent poke damage down with the Italy too to keep off the objectives, and looks like Pilot actually got that red buff.
Yeah, which is pretty nice for a Vayne last time I heard.
Last time you checked, yeah.
80 carries, you want red buff on. Vayne is probably a pretty good one.
Being able to kite, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, like it. A little bit of damage over time. Not bad. Let's start the Baron again. And they're going to keep going for it at the moment. Even Luna all right there. And Sweet. This Baron is going down so fast. They're two-manning it. TP coming in. Is Samsung going to make him pay? Baron does go to JIN. Can they win the fight, though? Sweet, very low equalizer. Comes down. GBM very low. Doesn't get out. Kube with a kill there. Pilot taken down as well. A double kill now for Kube. JIN just playing it a little bit too dangerously.
Trace recalled from the bottom lane as Kube was TPing into the fight. He wanted to get back to base before he actually TP'd in himself. So a bit of a misplay, but JIN again, they do actually get the Baron.
Yeah, but what are they going to lose for it, too? Looks like they're going to lose this top lane tier 2 turret. And that's going to tie up the turrets for Samsung. So apparently this one isn't over yet.
Apparently it isn't. They still have about the same lead as they had before. I guess it's going to depend on what JIN can get for this Baron, or with this Baron, once they actually come back to life. Very dangerous 50-50 there from JIN.
Yep. They certainly caught the worst end of that one.
Well, Pilot's not going to be able to split push by himself like he would like to, considering he doesn't have that, and that's really too bad because nobody on the Samsung team has any armor. He can absolutely 1v1 anyone right now, and having him with those Baron-empowered minions sure would be handy, but it's not going to happen.
That would have been nice. He's still going to go to bot lane by himself for the moment. Doesn't really have much vision, but he can at least push up the lane a little bit. There is still the factor of the dragons, too, and JIN are still way ahead in that category.
That is true.
So they do have that going for them.
So how hard can they push with this? There's not a whole lot for them to take, honestly. They have to have Chaser down in that bottom side with him for the Baron-powered minions. Here we go.
Oh, wow. Trace going way into the back lines. On the crowd. Eve getting caught by Chaser, and Pilot condemned against the wall. That could be a kill there. Pilot bounced around by the explosive cast. He's still going to get a kill, as is GBM. Nice catch by JIN, and that's going to be at least a tier 2 in bot.
Yep, there's a charge forward, take this turret immediately, and then move on through. See if they can get an inhib turret while these death timers are hovering around 25, 30 seconds. They don't have a minion wave, but Trace will be able just to tank that out.
Yeah, so tanky, and it looks like it's going to be at least a turret for JIN here. Maybe the inhibitor. I think they've got time. Oh, meanwhile, Fury takes out the tier 2 in mid, but it's not quite equal for an inhibitor. And JIN, there we go. That's the kind of thing you need to take with that Baron.
Yep, just pushing on forward. They get that going. Kube is there just to catch the wave as it comes in. Crown back up right now, so that'll be helpful for taking out a bunch of these super minion waves, but that dragon not really going to be contestable for Samsung. JIN just going to go back for a shop after getting all that gold. And Fury did some work in the middle lane on that tier 2. I don't think even if he had been there, he would have been able to stop all of those members from JIN coming in, and indeed, they probably just would have tower dove him.
Well, Samsung's going to try to get some vision around that dragon. See if they can maybe do something to defend it. It's going to be tough, though. Void Staff plus another needlessly large rod done on GBM, and we've got the Last Whisper done for Pilot as well. So he is pretty strong. Not to mention Trace is incredibly tanky right now, as is Sweet for that matter. So yeah, don't think Samsung can fight this.
Nope. Pretty sure they can't, but especially with how much vision JIN has over the entirety of that bottom side jungle.
Do you have
Here comes the glory.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to try to come in on the ground there, getting knocked up. Fury comes around. They pop the Sivir ultimate. Kube coming from the side. Can he get equalizer? Brahmal tilts nobody. GBM pushed against the wall. There's the equalizer. Enough people are behind it. The great shockwave from GBM picks up one kill, and Pilot relatively untouched so far. Spear barely doesn't hit Eve, and Chaser's still going for it. Flashes for that kill. Another one throws a parting spear on his way out. GBM very, very low. Looks like that's all they can take out of this fight.
Yeah, can they push forward to get another inhibitor, though? That's what they want to look for right now. Dragon on the exit. And they're going to be able to get it. Wave is actually right there in the front for them to use.
That helped a lot. Pilot was actually able to sustain off that wave back up to a decent amount of health, so even Crown not a big threat.
Yeah, they need to just go get Dragon right now. They can't end the game at the moment. Don't even try. There's still super minions threatening your opponent's base, so Dragon should be the first priority. Then just go ahead and recall and see if you can finish off the Baron once it respawns.
That's right.
GBM is having a very good game. He really has been saving his team in a lot of these team fights.
Been quite good. So Dragon number 4 taken easily by JIN and finally putting themselves in a situation where you really would not expect them to be able to throw it.
That is true. I mean, knocking on the door of that 5th Dragon, having the priority over Baron with inhibitors down by the time it spawns, it's all looking very nice for the JIN Green Wings.
Very true.
Picking themselves back up after that questionable loss in Game 1 and a bit of a hard early game for them. Although, in spite of that tower dive, they were always ahead in gold in this game. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and since then, again, they've been pretty tight.
Okay, so how long is JIN going to be waiting for this next Baron? The proper play is definitely, with a minute left, just go ahead, push it out, get the wards in deep on the top side. They have a ton of pink wards right now, already stacked up to get the vision control, and they have one in the river.
All right, Samsung trying to be tricky, but they get found out right away. Can't really stand against that.
Maybe a little bit ambitious here, threatening around the backside with the Alistair, although dive potential is there for JIN.
I mean, it keeps Samsung bottled up, and it does give JIN the chance to get a lot of wards down, I suppose. And it looks like Samsung, because of those 2 inhibitors down, is just going to have to give up the tier 2.
Yep, they're going to give up the tier 2, and they're likely going to give up the Baron. But this is the best possible case for Samsung. They want to back off now to clear out those super minions rather than wait much longer, but they have to defend this last inhibitor turret. So JIN doing a good job of just ratcheting up the heat on the base.
Yeah.
Before they turn and do this Baron.
This is a situation that JIN loves to be in, though. They love to be able to take these slow, grinding victories, you know?
It's very true.
Oh, Switch is hanging out in the enemy base right now.
I mean, since they don't have somebody who can split push on the side, they have their support. They should just back out and do the Baron right here because, they're going to go for it.
Oh, wow, Righteous Glory used. They're going to try to bull rush their way in. Eve trying to make a play, ends up pushing GBM away. That's not what he wanted to do. Command Protect onto Trace goes in. Where's the Shockwave? There's the knockup. GBM not in range to pop that one, it looks like. Pilot coming in to finish off that turret. Equalizer goes down, but GBM and the rest of JIN already have too much rolling here. There's a kill coming in. Pilot grabs one, Chaser as well. That inhibitor is going to be a goner. GBM still hasn't even used Shockwave this fight.
Yeah, just holding it right there, waiting for Samsung to overcommit. If they wanted to win that fight, they had to re-engage after the turret was down. So with that weapon up, I think it was a good hold. If they didn't need it, there's the TP.
Yeah, they really just want to be merciless with this one. They want to take this game and end it. They want to go into game number 3. Fury taking huge damage from GBM. A little bit of a combo there, and it looks like with Crown still 15 seconds remaining on his death timer, this one is over. JIN tying it up with a very convincing game number 2. Some kills at the end. Pilot donates himself, but it looks like we're going to go to game 3.
Yes, we are. So JIN started that game maybe not looking their best, but Trace held his own as a top laner, got an early CS advantage, which definitely helped their global gold total. But after that dive, it was all JIN. They were able to put the pressure on. They were able to win the skirmishes. They played much better in the team fights this game than in the last one.
Yeah, much better. Chaser with a great game on that in Italy. And so on that note, it's all tied up. And if JIN can play like that, you'd think they can take game number 3. But we've seen one very kind of not great game from JIN. We've seen one pretty good game from JIN. Which JIN is going to be playing game 3? That's the question here.
Well, at least they have the momentum going in. You have to say that they're not going to be in that same situation of being really down because they outsmarted themselves like they did in game 1.
True enough.
That game was much more methodical, got the dragons, got the turrets, did the dives at the right time, executed their game plan, and won the game.
They have escaped from Tilt City relatively unscathed. Now back to smooth sailing. They've repaired the plane, and they're airborne once again.